Don't give up. Ladies and gentlemen, friends, brothers and sisters of this world we share. I want you to pause for a moment and imagine this with me. A young man is sitting on the edge of his bed. His hands are trembling, his heart feels heavy, and his mind is screaming with doubts. The bills are piling up on his table. The rejection letters are scattered across the floor. The dreams that once felt so alive now feel like distant stars, so far away, so untouchable. And in that quiet, suffocating darkness, he whispers to himself, maybe I should just give up. Maybe you've been that person. Maybe you're carrying that weight right now. Or maybe someone you love is standing at the edge of giving up. And I'm here today to tell you something that could change everything: don't give up. Because the very moment you think it's over, the very moment you're convinced that nothing will change, that could be the exact moment life is preparing to surprise you. I want to tell you a story. It's not about a billionaire. It's not about someone born into privilege. It's about a boy from a small town in America, named Daniel. Daniel grew up in a family that didn't have much. His father worked 2 jobs, his mother cleaned houses, and every dollar mattered. But Daniel had a dream: he wanted to become a musician. He didn't care about fame or money. All he wanted was to create music that touched people's hearts. But reality, as it often does, was harsh. When he played his songs in coffee shops, people barely listened. When he sent his demos to record labels, he was told, "You're not what we're looking for." When he poured his soul into his art, it seemed the world didn't care. One night, after yet another rejection, Daniel sat on the floor of his tiny apartment, head buried in his arms. He thought about quitting. He thought about selling his guitar and finding some ordinary job. And that night, he whispered to himself the words that many of us have whispered before. Maybe I'm just not good enough. But here's where the story takes a turn. The very next morning, Daniel dragged himself out of bed, still broken, still tired, but he decided to play one more time at a small park. Only a handful of people were there. But among them was a little girl in a wheelchair, no older than 9. She listened to Daniel's song with tears streaming down her face. After he finished, she wheeled herself up to him and said, "That song, it made me feel like I can do anything. Thank you for not giving up." And in that single moment, Daniel realized something: his music didn't need to touch millions. It only needed to touch one soul at a time. That little girl's gratitude was enough to spark his fire again. He kept going. He kept playing. And years later, his music spread across the country, not because he chased fame, but because he chose not to give up when it mattered most. Friends, the truth is, life will test you. It will knock you down again and again. You will hear "no" more times than you can count. You will face setbacks, heartbreaks, and nights where you question if any of it is worth it. But I want you to remember this: your breakthrough might be hiding in your next attempt. Thomas Edison failed thousands of times before inventing the light bulb. Imagine if he had given up after the 100th failure, or the 1000th. The world would still be in darkness. Oprah Winfrey was fired from her first job as a TV anchor, told she wasn't fit for television. Imagine if she had believed those words. We wouldn't have the Oprah who inspired millions. And closer to home, think about the single mother working double shifts to feed her children. Think about the refugee who arrives in a new land with nothing but hope in his pocket. Think about the student battling anxiety, yet still showing up to class. These are the unsung heroes who remind us daily, don't give up. But let me go even deeper. Because sometimes, not giving up isn't just about chasing dreams, it's about survival. A few years ago, in a small American town, there was a man named Robert who lost everything in a flood. His house, his savings, his sense of security, gone. He stood in the rubble of what used to be his life and thought, I can't start over. I can't do this. But then something remarkable happened. His neighbors, people who barely knew him, came together. They brought food. They helped him rebuild his house piece by piece. They gave him more than materials, they gave him hope. And Robert said later, with tears in his eyes, I was ready to give up on life. But they didn't give up on me. Sometimes, we don't realize it, but our strength is not just in ourselves. It's in the people around us. When you feel like giving up, remember, there is someone out there who needs you to keep going. A child, a friend, a stranger. Your story could be the reason someone else doesn't quit. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking, but what if I've already failed too much? What if I'm too old, too broken, too far gone? Let me tell you this, as long as you are breathing, you are not finished. Your story is still being written. The chapters ahead could hold miracles you can't even imagine yet. Think of Abraham Lincoln. He lost elections, failed in business, suffered breakdowns. But he didn't give up. And one day, he became President of the United States and changed the course of history. Think of J.K. Rowling, living in poverty, rejected by publishers again and again. She didn't give up. And today, her books have brought magic into the lives of millions. Think of the countless people whose names we may never know, ordinary people, who faced extraordinary struggles and chose to keep moving forward. They may never be in history books, but they are the reason hope is alive in this world. And here's the most important part. When you refuse to give up, you give permission for others to do the same. Your perseverance becomes someone else's inspiration. Your scars become someone else's survival guide. Your courage becomes someone else's roadmap out of the dark. That is the power of humanity. That is the power of not giving up. So tonight, if you are standing at the edge of quitting, hear me when I say, hold on. Take one more step. Try one more time. Your miracle could be closer than you think. Because sometimes, the greatest victories come right after the greatest struggles. The dawn always comes after the darkest night. And love, kindness, and perseverance always win in the end. Don't give up, because the world needs your voice, your light, your story. Don't give up, because someone is waiting to be touched by your courage. Don't give up, because your best chapter has not yet been written. And when you feel like you can't keep going, remember this, you don't have to do it alone. Lean on others. Lean on love. Lean on the truth that every great life is built not on perfection, but on persistence. So, my friends, lift your head. Dry your tears. Take a deep breath. And keep moving forward. Because no matter how hard it gets, no matter how impossible it seems, no matter how many times you fall, the story of your life is not over. And it won't be over, as long as you choose these 3 simple but powerful words. Don't give up. Thank you.